Welcome, Doug.
Thank you.
We would like to ask you certain questions regarding the environment, and they are definitely related to the topic and the subject of this conference we are organizing. Since we are on the middle of an economic crisis, the first question would be to you, how are these two related, the economic crisis and an ecological crisis?
I think it's mainly a financial crisis so far, in the sense that it is the turbo capitalism which has its problems. I think the crisis is not yet really touching on the basis of the capitalist economy. And if you look at it, I think you have four types of responses to the crisis. I mean, you have the people who are buying a lot of shares to earn when the things get back to business as usual. And then you have those who want to change the financial economic system to get it back to the real economy. Because the size of the financial capitalist system were 3 to 5 times as big as the real economy, would they say. And they will typically go for the skatteparadis, or the tax havens, yes. They will try to regulate much stricter the derivate and hedge funds, etc., and try to control the finance capital. So not those who earn money by using money are in the lead, but those who produce services and goods, you know. But they still are capitalist, you know? I mean, it's a capitalist within so they try to save capitalism by changing the finance capital.
Try to save capitalism from capitalism. So
yeah, or from the turbo capitalism, or what you would call it, because that's something like 98% of all exchange in the world was not services and goods. It was shares, derivatives, and changing currency. You know, so that's the second response. The third response is a typical, more social democratic or socialist response, where the state goes in and take control. You know, by the banks, like Norway did during the bank crisis around 1990. And in a sense then we'll move the power over from the market to the state, and typically try to get a more just share between the poor and the rich, etc. But I would think that even those two latest things still don't touch the basis around ecology and environment. Where you really have, I mean, I think it's good for the environment if the state takes a more active role. I think it's good that you get a control of the finance capital, but it's not enough. It's maybe necessary, but it's not enough. To do something about environment, you have to do something with basic things about investment, about tax systems, maybe even about the whole concept of growth. So that's the big issue. Yeah.
So, in a sense, you are saying that there is a need for kind of a radical rethinking of the whole concept of the economic distribution of the wealth and the capitalistic logic as such, probably. I mean, would we need actually? I mean, definitely we would have to do something so that this growth is channeled in a different direction.
Yes.
But what about the basis of capitalistic system? Would we end up sooner or later again on a similar crisis in the future? I mean, and
I don't know. I think we need the market. You know, I mean,
the market is essential.
Yeah, I think the market is essential. But so the question is, how do you, what can the state system do about the market? And the question is, of course, the pricing system, you know. And if I should put forward the most important thing that can be done in Norway and Western countries, I would say it's radical tax reform. I think that would be the first thing, where you, which everyone has talked about, and the finance minister today, earlier today,
Yeah.
actually asked the group, how can I do this? It's so difficult because people don't like gas getting more costly, etc., etc. But basically, I mean, what we tax is what essentially is our bad sides to consume and pollute, instead of what is our deeds, which is to work. Even we tax our work more than we did in the 1960s. And for all this time we have talked about that the polluter shall pay. And we don't believe it. We had a big green tax commission in the 1990s. Nothing came out of it.
But is this realistic, actually, to tax the consumption and not the work?
I think it's realistic. I think, but you probably need some. I don't think, in a sense, I think you have to do some really big steps. You know, I don't think you should only go by small things. They have done. This government has actually done very little about it, except for cars. You know, that they have changed. Polluting cars got more expensive and the others, etc. So I think you have to give a lot back on it can be income tax, or even better, arbeidsgiveravgift, which is employer's tax, which will make it less expensive to hire people, and to give a big there, and then take it from CO2 tax, energy tax, etc. So you increase that, and this should be a change in at least 50 billion Norwegian kroner or something. You know, and it should be that size if it really can function. So when you go into a shop, the things that are costly are the things that destroy the environment most, and the things that are not costly are the things that are most environmentally friendly. So you should be guided by your
pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But are there today in Norway political parties or political figures actually willing to take this direction, or to take politics, ecological politics, especially
the strange thing is that we can find people from the Conservatives, from the Labour Party, from the Socialist Leftist Party, of course, from the Liberal Party, that all talk about this. Christian Democrats all talk about it and say this is sensible. But the problem is that the power in the industry and in the trade unions is very much in these industries that's going to lose, like the oil industry, the aluminium industry. You know, these that are involved in actually don't employ much people but have a lot of money, and so it's a power question. But I at some time I think it will happen. It's also a question of international relations, because they will complain that they are losing in the international competition, etc. But then I think one has to say yes, not so.
But climate crisis is also a global crisis in a sense. I mean, would Norway also need to? Can it do it by itself? I mean, would other states also need to change their policies, their taxing system, or would Norway has to go along?